For centuries, people have been transfixed by the big city. Kids growing up in small towns would dream of going to the big city, where they could find opportunities and fortune. People in big cities often looked down on those in smaller communities because they were from the big city. But believe it or not, the idea of big cities and how they relate to the rest of a country is one that has an actual theory in geography and economics. Learn more about primate cities and global cities on this episode of Everything Everywhere Daily. This episode is sponsored by the Up First podcast. Breaking news is broken. You're constantly doom scrolling on Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok to get the latest updates so you don't miss anything. If this sounds like you, I recommend that you listen to the Up First podcast by NPR. NPR's Up First provides the top 3 news stories to start your day. With digestible 10 to 15 minute episodes, it's all the news you need so you can get back to your life feeling informed while preserving your sanity, letting you get ready, make breakfast, or go to work. From politics to economics and both national and international news, Up First is the go-to daily habit for the news consumer who wants to stay informed but is forever strapped for time. With Up First, you can start your day a little more in the know than you were when you went to sleep. Up First is the cure you need for your news fatigue. It lets you stay informed of the top stories while allowing you to spend the rest of your day on things more productive or more enjoyable. Listen now to the Up First podcast from NPR. This episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile. I don't know about you, but I like to know where my money is going. The problem is that big mobile companies like money too. After years of paying a ton for wireless services, I finally got fed up with crazy high wireless bills, bogus fees, and free perks that actually cost more money in the long run, and just switched to Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Nothing has to change. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for just $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/EED. That's mintmobile.com/EED. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Cities like people come in all shapes and sizes. There are giant megalopolises, small, medium, and large cities, and everything down to village and hamlets. What we all know intuitively is that some cities are more important than others. This is true on both a global scale and on a national and regional scale. These important cities can be seats of government, finance, industry, culture, and religion. This difference in the relative importance of cities goes back a very long time. Going back thousands of years, ancient cities like Jericho, Ur, or Babylon were important commercial and administrative centers. All roads famously led to Rome, which governed an entire empire. This relationship between cities was studied by an American geographer named Mark Jefferson. He was a professor at what is now called Eastern Michigan University, and perhaps more importantly, he was the chief cartographer of the American delegation to the Paris Peace Conference in 1919 after World War I. In 1939, he developed something which he called the law of the primate city. According to Jefferson, a primate city is one that is at least twice the size of the next largest city and significantly more than twice as important in terms of economic, political, and cultural influence. Jefferson's idea came from studying urban development patterns across various countries. He observed that in many nations, one city dominated all aspects of national life, while in others, cities were more evenly distributed in size and function. His theory contrasted with the statistical rank-size rule, which states that the population of cities in a country follow a predictable pattern, whereas the second largest city is half the size of the largest, and the third largest city is 1/3 the size, and so on. Primate cities exhibit several defining characteristics that set them apart from other urban areas within a country. One of their most notable features is urban dominance, as they act as the central hub for finance, administration, culture, and transportation. These cities hold a disproportionate share of the national population, often dwarfing the second and third largest cities by a significant margin. Another key characteristic of primate cities is their economic concentration. Major industries, businesses, and services tend to cluster in these urban centers, making them the driving force behind the country's economy. This concentration of wealth and opportunities attracts a large number of people from rural areas and smaller cities, reinforcing their role as migration magnets. As a result, primate cities continue to grow at a rapid pace compared to other urban centers in a country. Another hallmark of primate cities is their cultural and political importance. They serve as the epicenter of national media, prestigious universities, and government institutions. Many of these cities house the country's most important historical landmarks and cultural centers, making them influential both nationally and internationally. Most countries have a primate city, but not all do. For example, the United Kingdom, Thailand, Sweden, Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina, France, Ireland, Mexico, Japan, and South Korea all have primate cities. However, the United States, Canada, Australia, India, Brazil, and China do not. So let's take a look at a representative primate city, that of London in the United Kingdom. London dominates the United Kingdom in almost every way. London has 22% of the entire GDP of the country, despite only having 13% of the population. London is the seat of government for the United Kingdom. It's where the primal royal residence is. It's the center of finance for the country, and as we'll see, one of the most important financial centers in the entire world. Culturally, it has palaces like Westminster Abbey, which is central to the history of the country, as well as the West End Theatre District, which, alongside Broadway, is one of the most important in the world. And it has things like the British Museum. It is overwhelmingly the largest tourist destination in the United Kingdom, and it has the largest international airports in the country. The second largest metropolitan area in the UK is Birmingham, which has a metro population of about 2.3 million people. While London is approximately 4 times the size, it has a far greater impact in terms of economics and culture. Bangkok has been dubbed the most primate city in the world due to its overwhelming dominance over the rest of Thailand in terms of population, economy, politics, and culture. Unlike other countries where multiple cities may share national influence, Bangkok is vastly larger than any other Thai city, with a metropolitan population exceeding 10 times that of the second largest city, Chiang Mai. Economically, Bangkok serves as the financial and commercial hub of Thailand, concentrating the vast majority of the country's businesses, industries, and international investments. Nearly all major banks, corporations, and multinational headquarters in Thailand operate from Bangkok. Politically, it's home to the Thai government, the monarchy, and the country's most influential institutions, further reinforcing its central role in national affairs. Culturally, Bangkok dominates Thailand as its main center for education, media, and tourism. It's home to the country's top universities, major news networks, and renowned entertainment industries. Bangkok's dominance over the country also shows the downside to having a primate city. Bangkok's extreme concentration of power and resources in the country has led to stark regional disparities, with rural areas and secondary cities struggling to compete for investments and development. As a result, Bangkok continues to experience rapid urban migration, congestion, and infrastructure strain, further reinforcing its primacy. Now I'd like to take a look at some countries that do not have a primate city, and I'll start with the obvious one, the United States. New York City, while it is the largest city and a global financial hub, does not dominate the U.S. in the same way that London does the United Kingdom or Bangkok does in Thailand. Other cities like Los Angeles act as global centers for entertainment and media, while Washington, D.C. serves as the political capital housing the federal government. Additionally, Chicago plays a crucial role in finance and transportation. Houston is a leader in energy and space exploration, and cities like San Francisco, Seattle, and Austin are technology centers. Likewise, Canada doesn't have a single primate city. Toronto is the largest city with about 2.8 million people, but it isn't double the size of Montreal, which is at about 1.7 million people. Moreover, the capital, Ottawa, also has over 1 million inhabitants, and important energy businesses can be found in western provinces like Alberta. Australia has 5 major cities with over 1 million people that are all state capitals: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth. Sydney is the largest city, but it's only marginally bigger than Melbourne. None of the major cities is the seat of the central government, however, which is in Canberra. Primate cities don't have to only be looked through the lens of countries. Regions can have primate cities as well. Each of the major Australian cities that I listed is the primate city for their respective states. Phoenix is the primate city for Arizona. Little Rock is for Arkansas. Las Vegas is for Nevada, even though it isn't the capital. And the Twin Cities is for Minnesota. Although I technically know that there are 2 cities, but it's all one big metro area. Not every state has a primate city. Texas, Florida, and Tennessee, for example, do not. Some countries people think have a primate city actually don't. The Netherlands does not have a primate city. Amsterdam is only slightly larger in population than Rotterdam, and Rotterdam is one of the most important port cities in Europe. Primate cities are just a handy rule to analyze the economic, political, and cultural concentration in a country or region. It isn't a perfect way to view the world, but it can come in handy. They are a fact of life in most countries and aren't always positive things, as they can sap resources and talent from the rest of the country. I want to shift gears a bit now and talk about a different but related topic of global cities. A global city is a major hub of international finance, trade, culture, and diplomacy, exerting influence beyond its national borders. While a primate city dominates domestically, a global city is defined by its global connectivity and impact. Being a global city doesn't make it a primate city, and vice versa. New York is a global city, but not a primate city. Paris, London, and Tokyo are both primate and global cities. Kathmandu is a primate city in Nepal, but doesn't rank high as a global city. A global city is a more nebulous concept than that of a primate city. Lots of people make lists about the top cities in the world. The most analytical list is the one created by the Globalization and World Cities Research Network, a research institute based in Loughborough University in the United Kingdom, that classifies and ranks cities based on their level of integration into the global economy. They publish a list every 2 years that ranks cities into different categories based on their significance in the global economy, using data on multinational corporation offices, financial services, legal firms, and other business networks. The list places cities into 4 categories: alpha, beta, gamma, and sufficiency. Within each category, there are further subcategories. As of the 2024 list, only 2 cities in the world were placed into the Alpha++ category, and they probably won't surprise you. They are New York and London. They are the top global finance and economic centers in the world with unparalleled influence around the globe. Below them in the Alpha+ category are 8 cities: Hong Kong, Beijing, Singapore, Shanghai, Paris, Dubai, Tokyo, and Sydney. And then below that into the Alpha category are 17 cities: Amsterdam, Bangkok, Chicago, Frankfurt, Guangzhou, Istanbul, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, Los Angeles, Madrid, Mexico City, Milan, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, Seoul, Toronto, and Warsaw. I'm not going to list every city in every category, as that would take a really long time and it would be pretty boring. However, I should note that status as a global city isn't purely a function of standard of living or GDP. For example, some Alpha- cities include Buenos Aires, Johannesburg, and New Delhi, alongside Washington, Berlin, and Stockholm. There are groups other than the Globalization and World Cities Research Network that assemble similar lists about the world's top cities. The consulting firm Oxford Economics has put out its own list of top cities. It isn't radically different, except it has more of a tech focus and, as a result, puts more emphasis on American cities. They rank the top cities in the world as New York, London, Paris, San Jose, Seattle, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. The Brookings Institute came up with a list of cities that they call global giants. Their list was London, Los Angeles, New York, Paris, Osaka, and Tokyo. Likewise, the journal Foreign Policy and the consulting firm A.T. Kearney came out with a list that had New York, London, Paris, Tokyo, Singapore, Beijing, and Los Angeles. You'll notice that all of these lists are kind of the same. Almost every list has New York and London as the top 2, and then other, rather obvious cities behind them in various orders. The position of these cities is certainly not static. Their relative status is constantly changing slowly over time. I don't have a crystal ball, but my guess, having been to almost all of these major cities, is that Hong Kong, Johannesburg, and a host of Western European cities will be relatively declining over the next decade, and cities like Doha, Riyadh, Mumbai, and a host of Eastern European cities will be relatively increasing. The status and importance of cities with respect to each other and the countries that they're in is something that's been noted and debated ever since cities were first formed. And it's probably something that we will be discussing for as long as cities exist. The executive producer of Everything Everywhere Daily is Charles Daniel. The associate producers are Austin Oetken and Cameron Kieffer. Today's review comes from listener LRRP Ranger over on Apple Podcasts in the United States. They write, "What a great podcast. I just came upon this podcast and now I listen to it every day when I walk my dog. I love travel and geography and this show is so fun and interesting. Try it." Well, thanks, Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol Ranger. I'm glad I can make your dog walks a bit more enjoyable. Walking the dog is a great time to listen to podcasts. Remember, if you leave a review or send me a boostagram, you too can have it read on the show.